presents Dodger Baseball. Sponsored by New York Life. Integrity, humanity, and strength are what make New York Life the company you keep. By Coors Light, naturally brewed, the pure taste of the Rockies. Reach for the silver bullet. And by Southwest Airlines, with fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. A weather report as we see a little mantle of snow on the mountains. It is at the moment 52 degrees, but there is a wind, not a zephyr, a wind 23 miles an hour blowing from left to right. It is crystal clear with the accent on crystal. So let's take a look at the Rockies starting lineup. Leading off, Darrell Hamilton in center field, and the shortstop, Neifi Perez. Angel Echevarria will be in right field for Larry Walker's on the DL. Donnie Bichette, who had a key double last night to drive in the tying run, in the cleanup spot in left. Vinny Castilla, a big man with a big bat at third base, followed by Todd Helton, who wore out Dreifert a bit last year and killed the Dodgers last night. Mike Lansing will be at second base, batting seventh. Jody Reed behind the plate, and John Thompson on the mound. It is hand-blowing time on the old plantation, that is for sure. And for John Thompson out of Vicksburg, Mississippi, this is not exactly the kind of weather he likes. He lives in Sulphur, Louisiana. Here's the Dodger lineup. And the spearhead of the attack, Eric Young at second base. He'll be followed by Jose Vizcaino. Mark Grusolanic has been struggling with the bat, so Jose is in there. Then you have Devon White in center field and Raul Mondesi in the cleanup spot in right field. Todd Hundley rested last night, but he's back in the lineup tonight behind the plate. Eric Karros will be at first base. Adrian Beltre batting seventh at third. Jacob Brumfield in left field, his first start. Gary Sheffield out with a tight muscle in the right hip, and so Sheffield lost at least for tonight. And Darren Dreifert has concluded his warm-ups, and in a moment he'll be taking the field with EY. Davey Johnson was talking about the fact that Mondesi and Sheffield and the home run hitters get all the headlines, but it is earning three big blows, but it's EY leading the pack. The crowd's still coming into Dodger Stadium as we await that moment when the Dodgers and the selected youngsters will run to their various positions. It's always nice to see the kids always thinking of what a thrill it must be for them to be running out on the field with Eric Young and Eric Karros, etc. So they'll get to the positions, and when they grow up, they can always talk about this particular moment. EY giving an autograph to that youngster. I took the field at Dodger Stadium. Pretty good T-shirt. Meanwhile, Darren Dreifert out of Wichita, Kansas, and Wichita State. You may or may not remember, he was targeted for the tail end of the action, but then in April last year, he made a couple of starts. He had 6 relief appearances, and then after the 2 starts in April, he became a starter, although he was somewhat erratic. He pitched far more innings than in his first 3 years combined and appeared to wear down a bit. He only made 1 start in September, and finally the club shut him down with a sore shoulder. He has nasty stuff. Players also talk about it being filthy stuff. It's overpowering. He throws a very heavy ball, fastball, and slider. Working on his change. As far as his control is concerned, it's not bad. In 180 innings last year, he only walked 50-some odd. So that's about less than 1 every 3 innings. So he's still working to sharpen up on the changeup. Let's take a look at the Dodgers behind Darren Dreifert right now, with Karros and Young, Vizcaino at short, Beltre at third, Brumfield making the start over Gary Sheffield, White and Mondesi, Hundley behind the plate. So since Trip Cromer has played and Brumfield has played, the only Dodger who has not seen any action yet would be pitcher Dave Malicki. Everyone else has gotten in there. Meanwhile, Gary Sheffield bundled up and sitting and taking this one out. A pretty good guess last night when he came out that it was probably muscular. On a cold, wet night, you're always worried about a pulled hamstring, a pulled groin muscle, but it was his right hip as he sits next to Kevin Brown. Brown, by the way, will be pitching tomorrow in the 4:35 game against Darrell Kyle. And then Chan Ho Park will pitch Sunday to conclude the homestand. And maybe it's just as well that Chan Ho pitches Sunday. That means he will not pitch against Arizona. Darrell Hamilton to lead it off. 1 ball and no strikes. Hamilton has done a very good job since coming over to the Rockies in the Ellis Burks deal. In there. Darrell had a streak. He hit in 20 out of 23 finishing up September last year. He's starting off the year hitting .267. Half swing foul. Not a lot of power. Half a dozen home runs. So Darren Dreifert. It means the starting rotation now. Each man has seen some work. And we repeat with Kevin Brown tomorrow. 1 and 2. 2 and 2. It's interesting that the Rockies should come here. They can see snow on the mountains. Temperature 50. And it was 75 the other day in Denver. Fouled away. Jim Leyland, the new manager of the Rockies, and an expensive package he is, and well worth every dollar. A $2 million skipper. He'll be managing for the next 3 years and maybe forever. Ball 3. Jim's wife and young son back in Pittsburgh, but they'll join him in Colorado when they go home to Denver. 3 and 2. Ground ball to Eric Young, and the former Rocky makes the play. 1 away. Last year, the Rockies finished 21 games back of San Diego and 6 games back of the Dodgers. But actually, there wasn't that much to choose between the Dodgers and the Rockies. They split 12. They split 6 here. They split 6 there. And here is Neifi Perez. Here's a kid who really figures to be a star. He put up wonderful numbers last year. They put him in the leadoff spot. That didn't work so well last year. Dropped him to the number 2 slot, and everything seemed to click. He is also a very, very good bunter. In fact, he led the National League with 20 bunt singles. So Adrian Beltre is up about even with the bag at third. Switch hitter, stronger from the natural right side. A drive to right and deep. Mondi on his horse going back to the bullpen gate and makes the catch. Nice play by Raul Mondesi. Boy, he can do so much. He got a good jump. You had to worry about that gate.
Batting third, number 39.
Didn't take his eye off the ball at any time. He could feel he was about halfway on the warning track. So 2 down. The batter will be Angel Echeverria. The big kid playing right field in the absence of Larry Walker. Echeverria has always been a good hitter in the minor leagues. Everywhere he has played, he's hit over 300. His job this year, if Walker is healthy, will be to play only occasionally and pinch hit. And that's going to be tough for any rookie to just play occasionally. He went to Rutgers University. That's the same school that produced Eric Young. Signed by the Rockies. Drafted 7 years ago. 0 and 2. Ball 1. Of course, when you're playing for Larry Walker, you are playing a National League batting champion, a former MVP, a $75 million player. That'll do it. 3 hard sliders rings him up. So the Rockies are gone. Good play by Mondesi. Scoreless at the top of the first. First inning, Raul Mondesi resting in the dugout. Interesting thing, Todd Maulding was at one time the bullpen catcher for the Dodgers. He is now the bullpen catcher for the Rockies. Now watch as Mondy's heading for the gate. There is Maulding wearing the shin guard, standing up, and Todd will hold the fence to make sure he doesn't slam through it. Todd was probably helping a great deal. He was probably telling him lots of room right up to the last moment of impact. So Monday made the play, and we go to the bottom of the first. John Thompson, 6'3", 185-pounder out of Mississippi. He would have had a very good year last year, but like Ismael Valdez, he is bothered by blisters. And Valdez blisters maybe takes him out of a game once in a while, but the blister problem on his right middle finger last year took him out of action for over a month, 5 weeks. He also had 4 leads in games that he should have won, and the bullpen blew it. But he is more than a prospect. He could be quite a young pitcher. Throws in the low 90s and a hard slider. Ground ball to short. There's Perez. 1 away.
Batting second.
John Thompson, like every young pitcher,
Shortstop.
trying to come up with a change, an off-speed pitch.
Vizcaíno.
And you bet, since he only has fastball slider, the hitters just keep looking for the fastball. But if he ever comes up with an off-speed pitch, he's going to really be tough. Jose Vizcaíno, a very valuable member of the cast, and since Mark Gresselanek is having trouble, Viz gets a start. Right, 0-1. Vizcaíno also can help out playing second and third. And of course the Dodgers technically have only 4 outfielders. The starting 3, Sheffield, White, and Mondesi, and Jacob Brumfield. The other night they finished up with Trip Cromer in right field, and of course Gary's sitting this one out. Did he? Yes, he did. Slider in, and he couldn't hold out. 1-2. Last year, in his 26 starts, Thompson gave up 21 home runs, but of course remember he pitched a lot at Coors Field. Fouled away. He gave up 10 home runs to left-hand batters, the other 11 to the righties. One and two. That's hit in the air to left field, but Bichette playing him up. So we have 2 down. Let's take a look at the men with the leather coming from Colorado, and that'll put Todd Helton and Mike Lansing, Nafi Perez and Vinny Castilla, Donnie Bichette, Darrell Hamilton, Angel Echevarria, Jody Reed, and John Thompson. And the batter now, Devon White. Devo, among other things, making a great throw last night to get a man at the plate, and he's off to a very good start with the bat. Interesting when you see Rockies pitchers like a John Thompson, and you figure they're going to be very tentative at Coors Field, but it doesn't turn out that way. The Rockies, for instance, issued fewer walks last year at Coors Field than they did on the road. And because they pitched more innings at home, the ratio was far better on the road. And of course Brian Bohannon gave up some walks last night, but he pitched a whale of a game. Meanwhile, Devon White, a 2-out single to center, and the batter will be Raul Mondesi.
Batting fourth, number Number
Of course,
43.
pitching is the big question
fielder,
mark every year for a
Raul
Rockies ball club. There have been 315 regular season games at Coors Field, and this is the nightmare for Jim Leyland, and for that matter, anyone who manages the Rockies. There have been only 23 complete games in the history of Coors Field, and only 7 shutouts. There was only one Rockies pitcher to throw a shutout at Coors Field in the franchise history. That was Mark Thompson. Tom Glavine of the Braves is the only pitcher to throw 2 shutouts there. And as you no doubt know, the only no-hitter at Coors Field was tossed by Hideo Nomo. There have been 19 games at Coors Field where there were at least 7 home runs. One and 0. Right. So Jim Leyland's philosophy to his young pitching staff is don't worry about pitching in Coors Field. Just pitch better than the other guy because he's going to have his troubles too. In the 315 games at Coors Field, there have been only 20 without a home run hit. A hopper to third. Vinny Castilla stays with it, takes the hit away, and turns it into a 4. And at the end of an inning, no score. No score at the end of an inning with a lacy white mantle on the mountains to remind us about the weather, as if we needed any reminders. Donnie Bichette, followed by Vinny Castilla, and then Todd Helton.
Number 10, left fielder.
Whenever you talk about the Rockies and what a different ball club they are at home and on the road, all you have to do really is look at Donnie Bichette. He has played 2 years at Coors Field, and over that stretch of 162 games, he has a .369 batting average. On the road, .265. He has 43 home runs compared to 19, and 168 RBIs compared to 88. Ball 2. So Donnie, a good player, but he is an all-star playing at Coors. And look at the numbers he's put up. Most hits. He had 219 last year. 3-0. Donnie, originally drafted by the Angels in '84, and he was talking about cold weather, and he said the worst is in Milwaukee when you open up there. You actually have to put plastic bags on your feet to prevent frostbite.
Number 9.
So Bichette's aboard with a walk,
Castilla.
and that'll bring up Vinny Castilla. Vinny Castilla, with the season opening in Mexico and all of his countrymen out there to cheer him on, started his year by going 4 for 5 against San Diego. He also made a nice gesture. He wears number 9. He has always worn number 9, except for that opening day in Monterey. He wore number 14 opening day. That pitch in the dirt, and down to second easily goes Bichette on what should be a wild pitch. So it is a wild pitch. Anyway, Vinny wore number 14 opening day in honor of his buddy, Andre Galarraga. But now he's back to his familiar number 9. Bichette at second, nobody out. Castilla, Helton, and Lansing in that order. One and 0. Ball 2. Driver missing and basically missing downstairs. Then he had a tremendous year last year. He was once in the Atlanta organization, and Bobby Cox suggested Colorado draft him. He owes Cox a lot, and Bobby told Bob Gebhardt, the general manager of Colorado, this kid can play. We just don't have room for him with Chipper Jones, but you ought to take him. Boy, they took him, and he's a star. Vinny Castilla trying to pick up Donnie Bichette. Nobody out. Second inning, no score. Three and one. When you face Vinny Castilla, the first thing you have to know is his reputation. They feel he can hit anybody's fastball, no matter how high it's clocked. That got away. Hundley having some trouble, but as we told you, that nasty stuff that Driver throws, the ball moves better than anybody on the staff. It is so hard to catch. I remember Darren's first appearance in a game against the Giants, and the fella who was really impressed was Matt Williams. Matt went back to third base and said to Joe Malfitano, where in the world did you get that kid? He's got nasty stuff. And that's been the label on Darren ever since. And tried to take something off it and walk him. And now we have the hero of last night, who hit a slider for a home run, and believe me, it was not that bad a pitch. Take a look.
First baseman.
Out there, it almost looked like he hit it one-handed, and it was a surprise that you could hit a ball that far against Carlos Perez in the cold weather. So Todd Helton can really swing it. He was second in the very close voting for Rookie of the Year last year. Kerry Wood of the Cubs got it, and he was right there. And actually, as far as all of the rookies in the major leagues, why, Todd Helton was a Triple Crown winner. Shows you the faith the Rockies had in him, and he survived the pressure. All he had to do was fill Andres Galarraga's shoes in Denver. 0-2. Helton at 25 home runs, 97 RBIs. Show you how tough he is. He hit .304 against left-handers. Normally, he used to hit the ball a lot to left center, but he has learned to move his hips, and he can now pull with the best of them, and he has two on and nobody out. This time a fly ball to center. Devo started back. Now he has to come up. One away. So Bichette visiting with Eric Young. They were teammates, of course.
Second.
Vinny Castilla at first.
Mike.
And look at the umpires. Larry Poncino is a man in the woolen mask. Same story for Gary Darling at first. However, at third, Jerry Meals does not have it pulled up over his face at all. He's the toughest one, obviously, of the three. Now here's Mike Lansing. Had a chance to visit with Mike before the game. Nice guy out of Wyoming. And he had the laser surgery on his eyes in November. He used to wear glasses and contacts, and they were really a bother. He was leery about it, but his friends convinced him. So he had it done, and he is just thrilled. Meanwhile, he's hitting .333. 1-0. Bichette goes halfway down the line and then back to first. Back to second. Holding at first is Castillo. 2-0. Donnie Bichette, you have to keep an eye on him. He's like Eric Karros. He stole 14 bases last year. 2-0. Lets that one get away, and now he's really in trouble. Runners at second and third with one out, and apparently his second wild pitch here in the inning. That was the thing that was somewhat amazing with Carlos Perez and Brian Bohannon last night. They could get a grip on the ball. In the cold, as you well know, your hands become very slippery, and it's hard to get a grip on the leather of the ball, the cowhide. Ismael Valdez sitting alongside of Carlos. So first base open and 3-0 to Lansing. They're going to pitch to him. Right. 3-1. Mike Lansing, after the surgery, his eyesight now is 20/15. Fly ball to right field. The wind is going to blow it, and it is going to go foul, and the runners have nowhere to go. And Monty kind of bumped into that fence a little bit. So a wind-blown foul. Monty looks to see where the stands are, then watches it hit about a foot foul. And then you can see he has to brace himself. His right knee kind of hit the gate a wee bit. 3-2 the count to Mike Lansing. Lansing was put in the leadoff spot last year. That didn't work. Baylor put him in the number 2 slot. That didn't work. But when they got him down around number 7 where he is now, he's as happy as a clam. 3-2. And he walked him. The driver, having a terrible time now, has loaded him up. A reminder, tomorrow at 4:30, Kevin Brown takes him out for the Dodgers as they take on Darryl Kyle and the Rockies. Tune in for all the action starting at 4:30 right here on Fox Sports Net West 2. First pitch about 4:35. So Jody Reed, who alternates the catching with Kurt Manwaring, and it's Reed's time to play tonight, and he's up there in a golden spot to help his club. Right. Jeff Reed has Donnie Bichette at third, Vinny Castilla at second, Mike Lansing at first. Jeff hit .290 last year. He had 9 home runs, 39 ribbies. 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. The driver's struggling and making a lot of pitches with all these walks. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. For Jeff Reed, the last year of a 2-year contract. And he hits it right at short. The play back to third, and they doubled up Bichette. So Vizcaíno got it to Beltry, and Bichette hung out to dry, and the Dodgers are out of the jam. No score. Off the hook, no score at the end of an inning and a half, and a heads-up play by Jose Vizcaíno. Reed hit that sinker hard right at the shortstop. Bichette obviously thought it might be a hit, and he couldn't get back. Nice to see Vizcaíno makes the play, and a couple of guys who are not in the lineup went out of their way to come down and shake his hand. Trip Cromer and Dave Hansen. That's a good thing to see on a ball club. He's sitting next to the man he has replaced in the starting lineup tonight, Mark Russellani. So bottom of the second inning, no score. And the Dodgers will have Todd Hundley, Eric Karros, and Adrian Beltry against John Thompson. Todd Hundley hit the home run the other night. He's hitting .231 and actually batting left-handed. He's doing okay. A .375 average in the early go. Breaking ball missed. Despite the fact the Dodgers have had electrifying home runs, it should be pointed out the Dodgers have hit 8 home runs and the opposition has hit 9. Ground ball to the hole, plugged up nicely by Lansing, who makes the play. A reminder, all this weekend, kids 14 and under will receive a free collectible bean bear saluting home run heroes Roger Maris and Ken Griffey Jr.
Number 23.
Visit any ETN ticket machine or call 323-224-1-HIT. Tonight, Sammy Sosa. There he is. The youngster has himself a collector item. One down. Eric Karros, the batter. Eric hitting .286. Just thinking Mike Lansing made that nice play going into the hole to stab the ground ball and take it away. Lansing is using the same glove that he first used in 1990. I mean, that's a weary old glove. He was working out, interestingly enough, with a group of former Wichita State players. And of course, remember, Darren Drybert went to Wichita State. A drive in the gap to left center field. There's nobody there. Bichette cuts it off. Karras on his way for two. He is in there. So Eric Karras, a line double to left center. Take another look. Thompson's fastball, and he just turned on it. And he hits it in the gap. Bichette did very well cutting it off. One reason Donnie was able to cut it off, the outfield is a little slow from the rain. That ball might otherwise have skipped in the middle of a warm summer's night all the way to the wall. But Donnie made a good play to cut it off. So Adrian Beltre trying to pick up Karras. Right. 0-1. Beltre, who had a big winter, he was an MVP of the Dominican League, hitting .235. Certainly the jury is very much out on him as far as the bat is concerned. Just missed. Bottom of the second, no score. Young John Thompson trying to get out of a jam. That's on the corner. So you can see the way they're pitching Beltre, trying to keep the ball in on top of him. And the only way that that Beltre's going to handle that is to do the way Karras did. Really get those hips out of the way to handle the inside pitch. 1-2. And he goes the other way and drives it to deep right. Echevarria can't get it. It's up against the wall. Karras will score on a double by Beltre. So after working the ball inside on him, Beltre got a ball away and went the other way with it. Good piece of hitting. And the Dodgers back-to-back doubles take a 1-0 lead.
Number 48.
That's what the Dodgers want to see. See, it's out there, a little slider. And instead of trying to pull it, you hit it over Echevarria's head. So Adrian Beltre drives in his third run. The Dodgers lead 1-0, and Jacob Brumfield coming up. Brumfield beat out Trinidad Hubbard for the extra outfielder. Jacob started his career 7 years ago at the Reds, and he's also played with the Pirates and the Blue Jays. Foul ball. 0-1. Dodgers leading 1-0, bottom of the second inning. A 4:35 game tomorrow, remember. And it should be a wonderful game to see. Darryl Kyle, the ace for the Rockies. Kevin Brown, the ace for the Dodgers, going head-to-head. And then the concluding game on Sunday at 1:05, Chan Ho Park, and former Dodger Pedro Estacio. One ball, one strike. Beltry at second with 1 out. Brumfield trying to pick him up. That's a strike. 1-2. Jacob will be 34 at the end of May, out of Bogalusa, Louisiana. Lives in Atlanta. Last year he hit only .207 with Toronto. One and two. And that's fouled back and out of play. One of the big shocks, but it shows you the up and downs in the major leagues. The Atlanta Braves have designated Mark Wohlers for assignment. I mean, here's the premier relief pitcher 2 years ago. Now he not only can't get anybody out, he can't throw a strike. Nathan Perez trying to stay warm down there. 1-2. 2-2. Brought back memories because Wohlers, it's apparently in the mind. And you thought of Steve Blass of the Pirates, who just couldn't throw a strike. And way back when, Rex Barney of the Dodgers, who had a no-hitter in his dossier. Rex got to a stage where he couldn't throw a strike. Ball 3. Show you how bad it can get for a pitcher. Do you know the Dodgers had a player on their 40-man roster, a pitcher, maybe 7 years ago? His mechanics were so bad. Can you imagine this now? A major league roster player went into a windup, delivered, and hit his own ankle with the pitch. Would you say that he was mixed up? And the Dodgers had to release him. That's strike 3 to Brumfield. Slider apparently getting a piece of the plate.
Pitcher.
Take another look.
Number 37. Tarrant.
Well, I guess they called him out on a half swing. So 2 down, and Darren Dreifert coming up. Dreifert, as you know, a fairly good hitter for a major league pitcher. Ball 1. Darren last year had 11 hits, including a home run and 2 runs batted in. He had a home run against former Dodger left-hander Omar Dahl against Arizona. 2-0. When Darren hit that home run last year against Dahl, it was the first home run by a Dodger pitcher since Kevin Gross 5 years ago. Two balls, no strikes. Whoa, he hurried that thing to the plate. 2-1. Dreifert scored 10 runs last year. That's a lot for a pitcher. Nothing Dodgers. Bottom of the second. Adrian Beltre doubled in Eric Karros. Adrian looking for a ride home. 3-1. Ball 4. So a cardinal sin, walking the pitcher, and with 2 down, runners at first and second, and the batter Eric Young.
Second baseman.
Now this is a
Number
real
21.
surprise,
Eric
and
Young.
yet Jim Leland has sound thinking about it. When was the last time you saw a pitching coach who was not a pitcher? Well, Milt May caught. His father was an infielder. Milt was a catcher. but this is his first year as a major league pitching coach. Dave Duncan, now with the Cardinals, is another pitching coach who was a former catcher. But 9 times out of 10, the pitching coach is a former pitcher. But Milt knows enough about catching and enough about hitting and enough about pitching to be a good coach. Strike. 0-1. No balls, 1 strike. 1 run, 3 hits for the Dodgers. No runs, no hits for the Rockies. Nice play by Jeff Reed. That was in the dirt. They're going to put a new ball in play. Kind of a memorable day in the Dodger history book this April the 9th. You have to go all the way back to 1913, but it was special. It was the opening of Ebbets Field. Typically of the Dodgers, they lost. Phillies beat them 1-0. 1-1. Ground foul. Another thing about that opening day, I remember reading, they had a rotunda at Ebbets Field, marble floor, pretty sharp looking, especially back in 1913, and they had all the big ceremonies, and now the time was to open up the gate. No one had the key. It's like the best man showing up without the ring. Well, that was just the beginning of the wacky franchise back there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's hit to center. Hamilton is right there to put it away, so the Dodgers get 2 doubles for a run and leave 2, and at the end of 2, 1-0 Dodgers. On Fox Sports Net West 2 are brought to you by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. When you need a little something extra, when it counts the most, Gatorade. Is it in you? And by Miller High Life. Nothing wrong with being a man, nothing at all. We have 2 innings in the books, and the Dodgers leading the Rockies 1-0. Eric Karros doubled to left center. Adrian Beltre doubled to right center. Drybert got out of a jam in the 2nd inning when Reed, with the bases loaded, lined into a double play. So now to the 3rd, John Thompson, Darrell Hamilton, and Nefi Perez. Thompson hasn't swung the bat much at all since he was in high school. He managed a half a dozen hits last year, and he did have 2 RBIs. Right. John picked up in the '93 draft. 25. No balls, 2 strikes. Breeze blowing at a pretty good clip from left to right. Foul ball that almost got a piece of Darrell Hamilton, which means where he's standing, John Thompson was very late. Darrell's bobbing and weaving in the on-deck circle, but look at that angle. I mean, you talk about hitting the ball out of the catcher's mitt. That's about what happened there. See you later. So John Thompson becomes strikeout victim number 2, and the batter will be Hamilton.
Center fielder, number 12, Darrell Hamilton.
For the Rockies, they're trying to hold their own until Larry Walker comes back, and you can understand how frustrated they are. When Larry hurt his side swinging a bat in batting practice, he strained the right rib cage. He was put on the DL retroactive to March 29. So he actually could come back by, oh, maybe as early as Tuesday of next week when they're home. Fouled away. Larry Walker, of course, is a very expensive, high-priced commodity to have sitting in the bench. He has a 6-year no-trade deal for $75 million. You want to do the math, that's $12.5 million a year. And he's not playing. He played 130 games last year, and he still hit .363 and just tore him up. So they really miss him. He is a franchise player. Larry Walker. 2-2. Did he? They're checking? No, said Jerry Meals. 3-2. Check swing foul. Now, Darryl Hamilton was not a Rocky last year in the sense he hit a lot better on the road than he did at home. He had .296 at Coors Field. He had .320 on the road. And he walks. So Drybert having trouble controlling that stuff, and he has walked 4.
Shortstop, number 5.
And that'll bring up Nafi Perez. Considering the fact Perez really had his first full year in the major leagues, he is an outstanding young player. He made himself a switch hitter. It wasn't as if some coach told him to try it. He wanted to imitate his idol, Tony Fernandez. He not only had 20 bunt singles, now he's got a line drive single, and Mondesi will hold Hamilton at second. So first and
Right
second
fielder,
with 1 out.
number 39.
And Angel Echeverria coming up.
Echeverria.
Now you can see what happens to Drybert. And usually it's been a familiar refrain. You know how they sang that song the second time around? That was very romantic. The second time around has been nightmarish for Darren Drybert. That's why they felt he was so successful as a relief pitcher. You only saw him once. He was murdered. But second time, you start to catch up to him. Ball 1. Struck out Angel Echeverria in the first inning. First and second, 1 away in the third inning. Dodgers leading 1-0. Ground ball wide to third. Beltry down to second in time for 1 in the dirt. Got away from Karras. Here comes Hamilton to the plate to score. So the Dodgers unable to turn the double play, and because of it, Hamilton scores. Beltry made a very, very slow toss to Young, and Young with a cold right hand. He has it in his hip pocket.
Number 10.
Couldn't get any grip on the ball. That's all part of the cold weather. Take a look. Watch this. Just a lob. And now Young caught it. And as you saw, he didn't catch it with 2 hands. He caught it with the glove, and Hamilton watching. And when the ball is in the dirt and gets away from Karras, why Darryl just shifts into high and scores. Right. So the error would be charged to EY, charge it to the cold weather. Beltry threw slowly, and EY normally would catch the ball with 2 hands so that he was ready to throw. But with that cold right hand, he caught it in the glove, then brought the right hand up to throw and didn't get it. 0-2 to Bichette. For the Dodgers, their first error of the year. No balls, 2 strikes. Bichette walked in the second inning. This time the sinker gets him, and that's that. However, thanks to the error, the Rockies get a run, and at the end of 2.5, it's a 1-1 tie. To a reminder, receive 2 free season tickets when you purchase 2 in select areas and enjoy great benefits, including merchandise discounts, priority for purchasing postseason tickets, and more. Call 1-800-6-DODGERS for details or visit www.dodgers.com. Jose Vizcaino, the 31-year-old, brought back to the Dodgers last year. Chopper to first. Helton is on it. So Vizcaino 0 for 2. With 1 down, the batter is John Thompson. Will face is Devon White. When you see the pitcher blowing on his hand and allowed to get away with it, and also the fact he's using his hand so much, he has a chance to overcome the problem of the cold. But boy, for the infielders, Vinny Castillo looks like Napoleon at third. There he is. Now he takes that hand out. But as soon as he has a minute, he'll slip it back into his shirt, probably. 0-1 to count. Nepi Perez joining the hand-blowing society. Not as an excuse, just as an explanation. You can really understand why EY threw it away. Look at Beltry. That's a 2-handed warmer. 1-2. And looks like hot chocolate, maybe hot coffee. Charlie Huff. A little room service. And that's hit to the gap. Coming over is Bichette, but he has to play it on a bounce. So Devon White is 2 for 2 with a fly ball single. And the batter will be Raul Mondesi. Mondi hit into a fourth play in the first inning. He hit the ball hard. A one-hopper to the right of Vinny Castilla. Vinny's back to the Napoleon again, especially with a runner on. Or either that or he's taking the Boy Scout oath. One run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 1 hit for the Rockies. Bottom of the third. Ball 1. Mondi hitting .375. Nepi Perez. Well, all the infielders especially trying to keep their hands warm. 2-0. Slider almost in the dirt. Well, these fellas along the way, starting in amateur ball and then all the way through their minor league careers and then majors. I'm sure they played in just about every possible weather. Look at EY. Got that right hand gloved and inside the shirt. There aren't very many bare-armed players in the game tonight, but Mondi's one of them. Two and 0. Pretty good fastball down, and the count 2-1. So John Thompson, they're very high on him. They just figure that he will develop, maybe be a 12-game winner this year and move on up. 1-8 last year. In the dirt. So since Mondesi is basically a high ball hitter, Thompson trying to keep it down. Meanwhile, Todd Hundley trying to stretch the hands and loosen up on deck. 1-1 tie, third inning. Big Thompson with a nickname of Red. And the 3-1 pitch. And there goes the runner, and there goes the ball. And Bichette in pursuit is going to be in front of him for a base hit. White stops at second, then with the throw back of him goes to third. It gets away at third base from Castilla. White will score, Mondesi to third, and the Dodgers lead 2-1. So Devon White dared Donnie Bichette to throw back of him, and Dante fell for it, and Devo made him pay for it. The error, however, is going to be charged to Mike Lansing on the throw to third. So Mondesi a single, Bichette throwing back of White. Lansing thinks he's got him, and his hurry throw in the dirt. Castilla never had a chance, so Devo just gets up and scores, and Mondesi moves over to third. Giddy out. Tough play. Castilla never had a chance. So the Dodgers lead 2-1, and Todd Hundley trying to pick up Mondesi with one out and the infield up. In the dirt to the backstop, and the run is in, and the Dodgers lead 3-1. Pitch, cashing in Mondesi. High fives all around, but gentle high fives tonight in the cold. Right under the glove and between the legs of Jeff Reed. (3-1) Dodgers. Ground ball, base hit into right field. So Hundley is starting to swing the bat. The ground ball he hit in the second inning, Mike Lansing made a good play. Jim Leland on his way out to the mound. So the Rockies coming apart a wee bit. But again, even though Bichette threw behind Devon White, on a normal day, Lansing might have been able to make a good throw. But Mike Lansing suffered the same problem that Eric Young had, trying to throw with ice-cold hands. And where Young threw it away at first base,
First baseman
Mike threw it away at third. Eric now has a hand warmer in his right hand. So it is extremely difficult to play, let's face it. So 3-1 Dodgers. Still only one out, and here's Eric Karros, who doubled in the gap in left center in the second inning. Right. 0-1, Derek. Pitch on the inside corner. I think the reason he didn't like it, it was down. Karros off to a good start, hitting .333. Oh, 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dodgers 3 runs, 6 hits. Rockies 1 run, 1 hit. So Darren Dreibert has been given the lead again. This is an anniversary, this date, April the 9th, of opening day at Dodger Stadium, when Fernando Valenzuela had the opening day nod for Jerry Royce, who had pulled a calf muscle, and Fernando shut out the Astros 2-0 in his first major league start 18 years ago today. 1-1. Hammered but foul. This is also the day in San Diego they'll never forget. In 1974, Padres owner Ray Kroc, watching his team lose their 4th straight in their home opener, suddenly got the public address announcing, grabbed the microphone and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I suffer with you. I've never seen such stupid baseball playing in my life." How'd you like to have that happen? That not only shook up the Padres, but Commissioner Bowie Kuhn made Kroc apologize to the fans a little later. And that's whacked into left field. Bichette going back. It's over his head and against the wall. They will hold Hundley at third on Karras' second double. And the Dodgers, with a 3-1 lead now, have a chance to get a couple more. So Eric 2 for 2. Dodgers 3 runs, 7 hits. Fastball up and right down the middle. So Karras, given a pitch to drive, did just that.
Third baseman.
And Bichette having to play it off the wall.
Adrian.
If he doesn't barehand that, if it got by him, why, Hundley would have scored from third. But with one out, they hold him, and here's Beltry. Down in the Colorado bullpen, they get a left-hander up, Roberto Ramirez. Right. Beltry doubled to right center in the second inning. Remember, he took a fastball on the inside corner and then went with the breaking ball and doubled to right. Infield halfway. 0-1. Slider away. 1-1. So in the inning, White singled. Mondesi singled to left. Bichette threw back of White. Devon took off for third, and Lansing threw it away. White scored. Mondesi went to third and scored on a wild pitch. Then Hundley singled, and Karras doubled him to third. 1-1. Ball 2, 2-1. So Beltray with a chance to really open it up. Adrian hitting .278. Dodgers figure they'll get Todd Hollinsworth back by around the 18th of April. And they hope Antonio Osuna will spend maybe 7 to 10 days with San Bernardino, and then they'll get him back. High fly ball to right center that should be deep enough. Echevarria for the catch. Tagging up is Hundley. He will score. Karras holds at third. 4-1 Dodgers, and Beltry picks up the RBI. So Beltray going the other way. Gets his man in.
The fielder.
So 4-1 Dodgers, a 3-run third. And with 2 out, the batter is Jacob Brumfield, and Beltry gets the 5. That's Rick Downs congratulating him. Rick, the hitting coach for the Dodgers, and a very good one. An unsung hero, the hitting coach. In the dirt, nice save by Reed. 1 ball, no strikes. So Jeff working hard behind the plate. John Thompson is laboring. He's made 22 pitches this inning and 59 pitches, and we're only in the third. 1-0. Ball 2. So Thompson's struggling now. Of course, it's a night to struggle, let's face it. I mean, you can blow on your hands all you want, but it is particularly difficult. 2-0. Lansing, you have empathy for him. Certainly he and Eric Young can exchange pleasantries about a cold hand and a bad throw with that 9-year-old glove. Isn't that something? He said if he loses that glove, he'll retire. fly back at third, down the line. Perez in foul ground, and that's it. So the Dodgers get 3. Ross will be along in a minute. At the end of 3, 4-1 Dodgers.
A good Friday night to you from Dodger Stadium for the third night in a row in the ballpark. It's 52 degrees at game time. The difference tonight, the wind's gusting out at 23 miles per hour. But the ball players are battling it, and the Dodgers now have the lead, and we'll see if Darren Dreifort can get his control back. He hadn't had it all spring. 4-1 Dodgers, and Vinny Castilla ready to lead off in the Rockies' 4th inning. Dreifort throwing a curveball, which is a very good pitch to throw Vinny Castilla on the first one. He's one of the best first pitch fastball hitters in the game. In fact, he has almost 40% of his home runs the last 3 years on first pitch fastballs. And Darren, knowing that, jumps ahead of him 0-2. Yes, Dreifort in 27 2/3 innings in spring training walked 20 men. 1-2. And that was unusual because last year Darren had a very good strikeout to walk ratio. It was about 3-1 to the good. That's high. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Castilla. Castilla was playing the Mexican League. He said the Dodgers talked to him a few years ago, but the Braves were the ones who came up with $20,000. Then he got $3,000. And the owner of the Mexican League team got the other 17. And he wasn't doing much in Atlanta. Went to Colorado in the expansion draft. In fact, he was really platooning at shortstop with Freddie Benavides at one time. And then about 4 years ago, he got a chance, and now he's one of the best third basemen in the game. And he takes strike 3 call. That's Dreifort's 2nd strikeout. Make a 3rd strikeout tonight. And here comes Todd Helton.
First baseman.
Time now for our
Number
Aflac
17.
trivia question.
Todd
He's got the last base hit ever given up by Dodger Hall of Famer Sandy Koufax. And he's in the ballpark tonight. Todd Helton flied to center his first time up and takes outside, ball 1. Dodgers seeking to go 4-1 to begin a year for only the 8th time in 42 seasons in Los Angeles. And Dreifort behind another hitter, 2-0. Todd Helton, outstanding athlete, quarterback at Tennessee. Chases one, doesn't get it. The count goes to 2-1. Helton just recently signed a $12 million contract with the Rockies. You know, they talk about the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, among others, spending a lot of money in the winter. Well, the Rockies were in there, too. There's a check swing foul. 2-2. Colorado spent $180 million on 6 players in the last year alone. Larry Walker, $75 million. Darryl Kyle and Vinny Castilla, $24 million each. Mike Lansing, $23 million. Donnie Bichette, $21 million. And Todd Helton, $12 million. 2-2 pitch. Fouled into the Dodger dugout. Some members of the media in Denver, though, have been getting on the Rockies management. They felt that this franchise, as you look at the protective swing by Helton, they felt that the Rockies, who've led baseball in attendance the last 6 years, had the money to go out and get some marquee free agents. And they didn't do it. The 2-2 pitch. Another foul ball. So Helton keeps poking them off the side. Still 2-2. There were rumors throughout the winter that the Rockies were going to make a run at Bernie Williams, Randy Johnson, Kevin Brown, Brian Jordan. Mike Piazza is the guy they really were going to put their money on, and Mike signed the mess before they got a chance to. And Helton takes strike 3, and he's gone. So Darren now has fanned 3 in a row. He got Bichette to close out the 3rd inning.
Second baseman.
And now here comes Mike
Number
Lansing.
3, Mike Lansing.
Lansing walked his first time up. Talking to Mike before the game today and talking about the laser surgery that he had on his eyes a few months ago. He said, I'm not going to say it made a great deal of difference because I thought I was hitting the ball well. And he did. He hit about 300 the second half last year before the surgery. I'll tell you who else is considering that. Greg Maddux. Bernard Gilkey and Al Martin have had the same procedure. 0-2. Last year, the Rockies had 325 in Denver and 257 on the road. 4-1 Dodgers. Driver in his first start of the year. And that missed. 1-2 in the battle of Wichita State alums, Darren Driver and Mike Lansing. They never played together in college. 2-2. Jim Leyland tonight looking for his 1,000th major league victory as a manager. Davey Johnson sitting on 988 wins. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. We're in the 4th. And Dreifert strikes out the side, and he came back with some nasty breaking stuff in that inning. At the end of 3.5, Dodgers 4, Rockies 1. On a cool, breezy night at Dodger Stadium, we go to the bottom half of the 4th inning. Dodgers 4 and the Rockies 1. Game 2 of a 4-game weekend series. Happy you're along with us tonight here on Fox Sports Net West 2. And Darren Dreifert, who was very impressive in the top half of this inning, striking out. Vinny Castilla, Todd Helton, and Mike Lansing will lead it off. Darren got married in January. About the same time, he signed a 1-year, $1.9 million contract with the Dodgers. John Thompson, who got roughed up in the last inning, giving up 3 runs. Delivers, and Dreifert doesn't get it. 0-1. The Dodgers were the last National League team to commit an error. And then Eric Young, cold hand, threw away the potential double play in the 3rd inning. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dreifert. In the Colorado bullpen, left-hander Roberto Ramirez has been joined by right-hander Curtis Leskin. That is low. 2 balls and 1 strike. John Thompson, born in Mississippi, but he calls Sulphur, Louisiana home, and his nickname is Red. Ground ball out to Nathy Perez. And that'll do it for Dreifert. 1 away, and Eric Young coming up. Tomorrow night after the Dodger game, stay tuned for the Clippers contest against the Portland Trailblazers. That's tomorrow after the game right here on Fox.
Number 21.
2.
Eric.
And remember, the Dodger game tomorrow is at 4:35. Kevin Brown and Darryl Kyle. Eric Young, in the words of manager Davey Johnson, is my MVP early in the season. Eric had been on base in 12 of his first 20 at-bats in 4 games. And the night he's grounded out and flied out. And he's on again against his former team, the Rockies. So a 1-out single for Eric. That is the 8th hit for the Dodgers off John Thompson. And here comes Vizcaíno. And Eric wearing glasses tonight.
Number 5.
For one reason, the wind and the dust being blown up. That's smart. I guess the first manager I ever heard of who really relied on what they call the computer printouts in baseball, that is the pitcher-batter matchups, how batters have done against pitchers, was Earl Weaver in Baltimore. And Davey Johnson, of course, came up in the Baltimore organization, later managed them. And he is also an advocate of the computer printout. And I'm sure he looked at the printout this morning, or last night, and saw that Vizcaíno had John Thompson a lot better than Mark Grezzolani. Jose takes a strike. For instance, Grezzolani could 1 for 6 against Thompson, and Viz is 3 for 6. So Jose starts tonight at shortstop. And what's he done? Flied to left, grounded out to first. 1 on, 1 out. 4-1 Dodgers, 4th inning. Hammered into left center field. Might be another gapper for the Dodgers. Hamilton trying to cut it off. On the way to third, Young being held by Rick Dempsey on a double by Jose Vizcaíno. And for the Dodgers, 4 doubles in 4 innings. Harry Karras had a pair, and Adrian Beltre had the other. And now Vizcaíno joins the club. And the Dodgers threaten to break it open here with 1 out in the 4th inning. And Jim Leyland's coming out, and that's going to be it for John Thompson. He just didn't have it tonight. Thompson, because of a weak shoulder in spring training, missed the first 11 games. And he's just now catching up with his arm strength. And he will leave, and we'll be back to Dodger Stadium in a moment. Got a pat on the shoulder from manager Jim Leyland. He leaves trailing the Dodgers 4-1. We asked earlier who got the last base hit ever allowed by the great Hall of Famer of the Dodgers, Sandy Koufax, and the answer, that's right, Davey Johnson.
Center fielder.
Switch hitter Devon White now coming up, and he will face Curtis Leskanic. Curtis is the senior member of the Rockies bullpen. He has appeared in 293 games for the Rockies. Had a scoreless inning streak of 21 2/3 innings last year, second best among National League relievers. And signed a 2-year contract with a 3rd-year option a couple of months ago. Guarantees him really $2.6 million. White's had a couple of singles tonight, and the Rockies bring the infield in with 1 out and runners at 2nd and 3rd. And Leskanic deals low for a ball, 1-0. Leskanic was the Rockies' closer in the second half of 1995, but he lost the job after the first month of 96, and he has had only 9 save opportunities the last 2 seasons. Devo rams one past Helton into right field. That should mean 2 runs. Young is home. Vizcaíno's right behind him to the third of the plate. He is out. They got him. Nice throw by Echeverria to nail Vizcaíno, who couldn't score from second. But the Dodgers add 1 more, and they now lead it 5-1. So Echeverria playing right field for the injured Larry Walker. With a strong throw to the plate. White stayed at first. Devon credited with his 3rd RBI of the season. Loses a 4th when Vizcaíno was out. And a nice job here by Jeff Reed of getting that left knee down, blocking Viz off. And the plate umpire, Steve Ripley, said, yeah, you're out. So White is 3 for 3 tonight, which means he's 9 for 18 to begin his Dodger career. Here's Mondesi. Grounded out, single, scored a wild pitch in the 3-run 3rd inning. Leskanic is a fastball slider pitcher. He's going to throw an occasional changeup, mostly to left-hand hitters, especially when he's behind the count. Mondesi takes high, and the count is 2-0. What I always remember about Curtis Leskanic is his comment a couple of years ago. See how he shaves his arms? He says, I do that because aerodynamically it gives me a better fastball. But he'd like to have a shirt on here tonight. Thunderfurs, Devon back. Dodgers 5, Rockies 1. The Dodgers have 10 hits. Colorado has 1. Bondi takes a strike, and the count is 2-1. Leskanic has been a much better pitcher for Colorado in non-save situations than as a closer. So as far as a lot of people are concerned, it's been a mental thing with Curtis so many times. His slider, though, has been sporadic at best over the year, so he's had to rely on the fastball. Two balls and a strike to Mondesi. There goes White, and then stops on a swinging strike 2, 2-2. Leskanic was saying, you know, I come in the 7th and 8th innings and I blow the ball by people. I got a nasty slider. But when I hear the word save, I want to do more than I can do. It is mental. I'm trying to do too much. I'm trying to be too fine with my pitches early in the count instead of getting ahead and throwing strikes. White gets back. Just about everywhere Jim Leyland has managed, he's had a bullpen by committee. He has not had a number of outstanding closers when you think about it. Rob Nin in Florida comes to mind. 2-2 pitch. That's outside. 3-2. Jimmy Leyland had a $500,000 escape clause in his contract in Florida that let him out after that 108 defeat season last year. The year before, he managed the world champion Marlins. All right, White ready to go in the 3-2 pitch to Mondesi. And it is swung on and missed. 1 run, 3 hits, a man left. At the end of 4 innings, Dodgers 5, Rockies 1. It takes all kinds, but they're baseball fans and they're here cheering on the Dodgers. And their club now has a 5-1 lead over Colorado as we get set for the 5th inning. Jeff Reed. It's a fly ball out to left, and Jacob Brumfield has got it. 1 out. Now let's take a look at the other scores on this Friday night. Mike Piazza had a homer, drove in 5. The Mets clobbered Montreal. Florida got great pitching tonight from Brian Meadows and 1. The Arizona bullpen let them down. Atlanta came up with 2 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th to beat the Braves, beating the D-backs, and Houston has won. So Cincinnati behind Pete Harnisch. And the Padres fall behind the Giants. That's now 4-1 as we get an update. Pat Watkins, who came to the Rockies from the Marlins, takes a strike. Leyland, of course, knew all about Watkins. Had a chance to get him, and they made the deal. This is lifted into right field. Mondesi waiting for it. 2 out. Now the American League scoreboard tonight. Yankees got a grand slam from Chili Davis. Kansas City got a 3-run homer from Scott Leyes. Boston beating Tampa Bay tonight. Toronto has won at Baltimore. Orioles are really skidding. Cleveland a rout of Minnesota. Angels just beat Texas, and Seattle ahead Oakland. Darrell Hamilton, who's bounced out, walked, and scored a run, takes the pitch outside, ball 1. No, Arizona took a 2-0 lead to the 9th in Atlanta, and Greg Olson gave up a couple of runs, and then Andrew Jones singled in the winner in the 10th. 2-0 to Darrell. John Rocker is going to be the closer now in Atlanta with Mark Wohlers on the way to Richmond. Struck out all 3 batters he faced in the 10th to get the win. Dave Malicki gets up in the Dodger bullpen. Dave hadn't worked in a while. 2-1 to Darrell Hamilton. Roberto Ramirez up for the 3rd time in the Colorado bullpen, and that's ball 3. And the Angels win tonight over the Rangers at Arlington. Boy, a lot of home runs in that game. Todd Green, Tim Salmon for the Angels. Fouled out of play. Orlando Palmeiro, Todd Zeile, and Ivan Rodriguez for Texas. Drive it ready for the 3-2 pitch to Hamilton. And walks him again. Carlos Perez walked Hamilton in the 7th inning with a 1-0 lead last night, and that led to the comeback.
Number 5.
This week on Going Deep, who can clean up big-time boxing? If Senator John McCain has his way, it's the U.S. Congress. Catch this week's Going Deep with Chris Myers, Sunday at 9 o'clock on Fox Sports Net West. Dryford has walked 5 in 4 2/3 innings, but he's leading 5-1, and he's allowed only 1 hit. That was the single by Neifi Perez in the 3rd, and Neifi's up there again. Mondesi made a wonderful running catch on Perez's drive in the first inning tonight. Carlos Perez, like a couple of pitches back from last night. Runner goes, and the throw from Hundley down there, not in time. Stolen base for Darrell Hamilton. So even though the Rockies are 4 runs behind, Hamilton able to steal it. Larry Poncino making the call. 1 ball, 1 strike to Perez. Nice block by Todd. 2 balls, a strike. You know, the Rockies have an edge over the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium since they came into the league. Colorado has won 19 of 36 here. I'll tell you what was really embarrassing. The first year the expansion Rockies came in here and swept 4 from the Dodgers. 1993. 2-1 pitch. Hammered into center field. Base hit. Devon White coming up with the ball. Here's Hamilton heading home. Now they hold him. The throw gets through, and there'll be runners at the corners. So the Rockies have their second hit. And Rich Donnelly,
Right fielder,
who has been with Jim Leyland for many years as a coach, first had Hamilton coming, and then decided, no, better not try it with us down 5-1. So 2 on and 2 out, and here's Angel Echeverria. He has struck out and grounded out. It was on Echeverria's ground ball, a potential double play grounder, that Young threw away the relay at first, and Hamilton scored the tying run for Colorado in the 3rd inning. Inside for ball, 1-0. Jim Leyland has a lot more control of the Rockies than did Don Baylor when it comes to personnel. He has a greater influence on the organizational decisions, the trades, and things like that. Jim wanted to re-sign Kurt Abbott, and they did. He wanted to get Lenny Harris, and they did. He wanted to keep Darrell Hamilton and not go after Brian Jordan because he thought Jordan might not be able to play center field very well at Coors Field and was injury prone besides. Another throw over there. They tell us that Leyland has also compressed by nearly half the expansive home clubhouse in Denver, and he has eliminated the long-standing Rockies policy that prevented players from bringing golf clubs on road trips. So Jim thinks a condensed clubhouse and golf clubs promote team harmony. Driver behind Echeverria, 2 balls and no strikes. Tonight was the first time this season, and we're only in the 5th game, that a Colorado starting pitcher did not go at least 6 innings. John Thompson could only go 3 1/3. Gave up 5 runs. 2-0 pitch. All the way to the backstop. Comes back to Hundley. But that's not going to prevent Hamilton from scoring. Down to second, Neifi Perez. And that is Dreifert's 3rd wild pitch of the game. So for a moment, it looked like the Dodgers might be able to shut the Rockies out of the 5th when Hamilton was stopped at 3rd. But then Darren let that one get away. And I would imagine part of that can be blamed on the cold weather. Dodger pitching coach Charlie Huff is coming out. Dodgers are leading now 5-2 in the 5th inning. 2 men out and a runner at second. And the count to Echeverria is 3 balls and no strikes with Bichette on deck. Mondesi and White talking things over and probably discussing the very cool evening. The temperature is probably in the high 40s by now. Hard to grip the ball, hard to throw the ball. One of the Dodgers pitchers, Antonio Osuna, is going to pitch tomorrow for San Bernardino against Lake Elsinore on a rehab assignment. Tony hadn't thrown a ball since the end of last season. Remember, he had elbow surgery. And so Davey Johnson said he wants to see Osuna build his strength where he could go 3 innings in a game And Osuna may be with San Bernardino a week to 10 days trying to accomplish that. Echeverria takes a strike. And the count is 3-1. Darren Driver trying to beat Colorado for the first time ever. He's 0-2 against them. And he's leading 5-2 in the 5th inning. Dave Malicki was throwing behind him minutes ago. The next pitch. Inside, and Darren Driver has just equaled a career high of 6 walks in a game. It's the 3rd time he has done that. And now he flirts with trouble because here's Dottie Bichette, and all of a sudden the Rockies have the tying run at the plate. Driver walked 3 men in the 2nd inning, 1 in the 3rd, 2 more here in the 5th. Bichette walked in the 2nd and then struck out in the 3rd. So the man with the most hits in baseball the last 5 years trying to hurt the Dodgers right here. Dottie Bichette. And takes a strike. 0-1. Kevin Brown and Darryl Kyle tomorrow at 4:35 at Dodger Stadium. Charlie Huff's spent a lot of time with Darren this year, working on his touch, his feel, trying to get him to throw softer at times, change speeds. 0-1 pitch. 0-2, and Donnie looks baffled against Darren the last 2 at-bats. Bichette says he thinks the hardest pitch to handle is an inside fastball. Let's see what Darren gives him. 0-2. Fastball outside. In those last 5 years, when Bichette has had, what is it, 934 hits, he's hit 100 points higher in Denver than on the road and had twice as many home runs in Denver. 1-2 pitch. Hit into right center field for a base hit. On the way home, Nathy Perez stopping at second, Echeverria. And now the Dodgers lead has been cut to 5-3. And remember, Driver needs 1 more out to qualify for a win. And we'll see whether Davey lets him get that 3rd out. So he had Bichette set up 0-2. And Donnie comes up with his 6th run batted into the season. And the Rockies, with a couple of runs here in the 5th inning, cut that Dodger lead in half. Remember, Driver got the first 2 batters here in the inning, Reed and Watkins. But he walked Hamilton. Darryl stole second. Perez got a single. There was a wild pitch, a walk to Echeverria. And now a run producing single by Bichette. And here is equally dangerous Vinny Castilla. He got a fastball and fouled it back. Castilla has walked and been called out on strikes. So Dryford is just hanging on. 6 walks issued, plus 3 hits, plus 3 wild pitches. Breaking ball missed. 1-1. Dave Malicki now joined by left-hander Pedro Borbon in the Dodger bullpen. One pitch. Ooh, not a good swing by Denny. 1-2. Driver pitched much better on the road last year than he did here at Dodger Stadium. He was only 4-7 at home with an earned run average of 5.13. On the road he was 4-5, but his ERA 2.59. Two on, 2 out, and the 1-2 pitch to Castilla. Down and away. 2-2. Driver was very tough on right-handed batters last year. He held him to a .224 batting average. The left-hand hitter hit him 60 points better. Echeverria at second. Bichette at first. 5-3 Dodgers in the 5th with 2 outs. And Castilla didn't look good at all in that at bat. Hundley tagged him out. So Dryford records his 7th strikeout to go with his 6 walks. And at the end of 4.5, it's 5-3 Dodgers. Over and shook Darren Dryford's hand. I'm sure D's through. Charlie Huff now talking to him. Driver had to use 98 pitches tonight.
Your attention, please.
In 5 innings, and look at that line.
for the Rockies remaining in the game.
Went far enough to get a win, and I really believe that's what Johnson had in mind, because
Number 22,
I know in spring training, Davies said we've got to get there in a mood to where he can be confident again. He's got great stuff. He has Kevin Brown type stuff, nasty stuff. Needs to work on the changeup. And I think this is one of those situations where you want to give Darren a boost to get him out of there while he's ahead. And he can get a win. Pat Watkins now takes over in right field after serving as a pinch hitter. And the new pitcher is Roberto Ramirez. And for the Dodgers now, Todd Hundley to turn around and bat right-handed. He has bounced out in single tonight. Roberto Ramirez, 26 years old, a 4-time Mexican League All-Star. Hit down the left field line, but foul. 1-1. There was quite a bit of friction. I think Todd cracked his bat. He'll need a new one. There was quite a bit of friction between the San Diego Padres and the Colorado Rockies. Oh, I guess a year or so ago. The Padres were ready to announce that they had signed Ramirez. They thought they had the deal made with his agents. They were ready to bring him into Denver, introduce him to the media. And all of a sudden, here came the word out of San Diego that the Padres had signed him. And the Rockies had all kind of accusations involving the agent. 1-2 to Hunter. And then after last season, the Padres sold Ramirez to Colorado. Breaking ball hammered to left. Does the wind cut into it? Yep, Bichette's back near the track to get it. With the wind whipping out at 23 miles per hour toward the right field corner. May have aided the Rockies on that
First baseman, number 23.
On a warm night, that ball's out of here.
Karras.
One out for Karras. Eric's had a couple of doubles this evening. Dodgers 5, Rockies 3. As the Dodgers try to even this series. Tomorrow, Kevin Brown and Darryl Kyle at 4:35. Sunday at 1:10, John Hope Park and Pedro Estacio. And then the Dodgers go on the road for a week. 4 games against the Arizona Diamondbacks at Phoenix, and then 3 next weekend against the Padres in San Diego. Eric Karras, who grew up in San Diego, takes a ball. Now a strike, and it is 1-1. 5 runs, 10 hits, and 1 error for the Dodgers. 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error for Colorado. Half swing. 2 balls and a strike. No swing. You know, you talk about the Colorado pitching staff, but there's always the question mark with that team. You know they're going to hit. A little surprising to note that the Rockies last year had the 4th best road earned run average in the National League, better than even the Dodgers. And Karras has got his 3rd hit. Dodgers have at least 1 hit in every inning, a total of 11. We're only in the 5th. This Sunday, the Formula One season heads to South America for the Grand Prix of Brazil. Coverage begins Sunday morning at 9:30 on Fox Sports Net West. Adrian Beltre comes on. He doubled home run in the 2nd and then had a sacrifice fly in the 3rd. All 5 of the Colorado starting pitchers had losing records last year. Darryl Kyle pitched better than 13 and 17, which is how he finished. His first year pitching for the Rockies. Adrian takes a strike. 0-1. A couple of former Dodgers now in the Colorado rotation. Pedro Estacio, who will work here Sunday afternoon, and Brian Bohannon, who pitched a solid game last night, allowed only an unearned run in 7 innings and held the Dodgers to 3 hits. Fastball foul back. 0-2 to Beltre. Roberto Ramirez was in 21 games last year for San Diego, went 1-0, ERA of over 6. And Darren Dreifert will call it a night after 5 innings. Here's the 2-strike pitch. Instead, Ramirez is off the mound. Cleveland had 20 hits tonight, and that 14-5 rout of Minnesota. Will Cordero drove in 4 runs. Kenny Lofton had 4 hits. Chuck Finley lost 9 straight to the Texas Rangers, and he beat him tonight, tossing 6 effective innings for an 8-4 win. 0-2 pitch. Down went Beltre. Apparently got out of the way. 1-2. In New York today, in the Yankees home opener, you see Beltre do a little sidestep. David Cohn had a no-hitter. Going into the 6th inning, Dean Palmer got a hit. And the Yankees romped past the Tigers 12-3. They called it in the middle of the 7th because of rain. Beltre grounds 1 to 3rd. Chance for 2. Castilla down to Lansing. Back to Helton. They got him. Double play. They'll be back in a moment at the end of 5. Dodgers 5 and the Rockies 3.
Hey, welcome back to Dodger Stadium. As we go to the 6th inning, the Dodgers made one objective. They set Darren Dreifert up for a possible victory. And now, was it James Fenimore Cooper who wrote The Last of the Mohegans? Well, The Last of the Mohegans is coming in right now. The last Dodger to get into a game, Dave Malicki. Let's see how he comes out. So Malicki making his first appearance of the year. That's always a tough assignment, and especially to be dropped in a ball game as a reliever when you are pretty much of a starter. But that's Malicki's role right now for the moment.
Leading off the Rockies, number 17, first baseman Todd.
The first baseman, Todd Helton, will be the first to greet Malicki. Todd Helton flied to center and struck out 0 for 2. Ball 1. Helton, the hero last night, hitting a slider into the bleachers in right center. Last night it seemed tough, and Carlos Perez can tell you all about it because he threw the slider. But tonight with that wind, and it is a wind now blowing from left to right, if Helton gets it in the air, that thing could go. Flags are at right angles to the pole. Curveball strike. 1-1. Look at that. When we started tonight's game, we had a wind of 23 miles an hour. Adrian Beltre with a hot hand, having hit into the double play. Ground ball to EY. Well, they get Helton 1 away. That'll bring up Mike Lansing.
Second baseman, number 3, Mike Lansing.
Mike walked and struck out. Hitting .313. Breaking ball strike. 0-1. Dave Malicki is a good pitcher to have on any staff, and it's certainly a luxury to have a pitcher of Malicki's quality as your number 6 starter. Little ground ball to short. Vizcaino. 2 down. Dave got off to a slow start with the Mets last year. Remember, the Dodgers traded Greg McMichael for Malicki, and the trade really set Malicki up. He went 7-3 with the Dodgers and kept his club in just about every game. Fastball about 90, pretty good movement, decent changeup, and he has a very good curveball, which he throws and reminds a lot of people of the same kind of a pitch Don Sutton used to throw. His index finger, I don't know if you can spot it, probably not, but he keeps his index finger on top of the ball instead of on the side when he throws the curve. Curve is tough to hit. It's also tough to throw for strikes. Dave, 6'4", 200-pounder. One ball, one strike. Got it in there. 1-2. Remember a couple of years ago, it was a little bit of a surprise. Probably see that youngster who looks like he's doing a little dreaming right now. Just missed with that curve. 2-2. They were interviewing Tony Gwynn, and they said, give us 2 pitchers who are not famous, who you feel are so difficult to hit. And he said Darren Dreifert and Dave Malicki. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away. Dodgers leading 5-3, top of the 6th. Don't forget tomorrow, Saturday's game tomorrow, 4:35. It's worth knowing the time, and it's worth being here. Kevin Brown and Darryl Kyle. Sunday, 1:05, Chan Ho Park and Pedro Estacio. Foul back. Jeff Reed hit into a double play, lined out to third. So he's actually hit 2 line drives. Two and 2. Jammed him. Really came inside on him, and the count remains 2-2. So a couple of former Mets, the battery for the Dodgers now, Malicki and Hundley. 2-2. Ball 3. Pat Watkins, who came into the game as a pinch hitter, stayed in the game to play right field. Watkins is on deck. Ball 4. So we'll see Watkins. Hey, remember, all this weekend, kids 14 and under receive a free collectible bean bear saluting home run heroes Roger Maris and Ken Griffey Jr. For tickets, visit any ETM ticket machine or call 323-224-1-HIT. So Pat Watkins checking in, and there are a couple of kids with their their beanie bears tonight, having fun. Ball 1. Pat Watkins will be a member of the Rockies April the 12th at Coors Field, and his mom will be in attendance thanks to the Florida Marlins owner. The Florida Marlins owner wants to fulfill a commitment. You see, Mrs. Watkins, Pat's mom, is suffering from a brain tumor. And John Henry, the owner of the Marlins, had promised to fly Pat's mom in his private jet to Miami for the Marlins opener. But Pat was traded to Colorado. So John said, okay, you're no longer with the team, but I promised I'd fly your mom to your opener, so I'll fly her to Colorado. That's a nice story, isn't it? 2-1. And as Watkins says, that just shows you what kind of a man John Henry is. He called his mom. She's really excited about it. And now she'll fly on a private jet to Denver to see me in uniform, at least, if not playing. A bunt in the air, caught by, that's it for Malicki and for Watkins. And at the end of 5.5, 5-3 Dodgers. Bottom of the 6th, Dodgers 5, Rockies 3, and Roberto Ramirez on the hill to pitch to Jacob Brumfield. Then it will be Dave Malicki, and then Eric Young. Brumfield playing in left field for Gary Sheffield, who had that tightening of the hip muscle, the right hip. Little roller to short. Nefi Perez. That's that for Brumfield. One away. So here comes Malicki.
Pitcher, number 38, Dave Malicki.
Malicki last year in limited time, he had 50 at-bats and he had 5 hits. One of them was a double, but he had some key hits. Malicki had 10 runs batted in last year. He even had 2 hits in a game 2 years ago against Cincinnati. He's not known for the stick. 0-2. Todd Hundley with a chance to rest. He's starting to look better each day. Of course, that's what he needs, a lot of work. Todd had maybe 30 innings in spring training. And I remember Davey Johnson saying in spring training, I'm not worried. He'll catch 130 games. Well, he is starting to look like a catcher who is catching up. He still has some work to do. Shot up the middle. Lansing can't get it, so Malicki rolls one into center for a base hit. Friends, this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Dodgers Incorporated, who employ the announcers, may not be reproduced or retransmitted without the express written consent of the Dodgers. So a base hit by Malicki will bring up Eric Young. 5 runs, 12 hits for the Dodgers. You wonder, though, about the Dodgers thinking about Malicki. This is his first game. And now suddenly he's going to be running the bases, and they want him to go a couple of innings. 1 out, and EY at the plate, grounded out, flied out, singled. Right. Mike DeJean, a right-hander, begins to loosen up, as you can see, down in the pen for the Rockies. 0-1 to EY. Up on the right side, Lansing with that 10-year-old glove. 2 down. The batter now will be Jose Vizcaino.
Number 5, Jose Vizcaino.
Vizcaino getting a start. They give Mark Grusolanic a little rest. Viz flied to left, grounded to first, and then doubled in the 4th inning, but was eventually cut down at the plate. Mark with a chance to rest and watch. He was struggling, so it was a pretty good time to sit him down. He was hitting a $150. Curveball, and a good one. One ball and 1 strike. Roberto Ramirez working on Vizcaíno. We were talking before about that glove that Mike Lansing uses. It's got Major League all over it. Pat Mears had it, gave it to Bill Spires, and then Mike's had it, and a flare to right field, an old or new glove. Mike's not going to catch it. And on the play, Malicki breezes to third. So a bloop single by Jose. He's 2 for 4. First and third, 2 down, and Devon White will be coming up.
22.
Just pinged it into shallow right field. For the Dodgers now, 13 hits to go with their 5 runs. And Devon White coming up. One ball, no strikes. Debo single to center, single to center, single to right. Now hitting .500 in the early go. Malicki down the line from third, and Vizcaíno at first. 2 out. 1-1. Kevin Brown and Darryl Kyle tomorrow at 4:35. Chan Ho Park. Pedro Estacio Sunday at 1:05. Then the Dodgers' first road trip to Arizona and San Diego. On the hands, and he turned on it, but he hits a fly ball to center field to Darrell Hamilton, and that's the inning. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. And at the end of 6, 5-3 Dodgers. Dodgers as we go to the 7th inning. We've been reminding you tomorrow at 4:35 Darryl Kyle will go up against Kevin Brown, and then Sunday at 1:05 Chan Ho Park and Pedro Estacio. We also should remind you that both games will be right here on Fox Sports Net West 2. 4:30 airtime tomorrow, 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Leading off the Rockies.
Of course, we hope you can, if possible, be out here with us to enjoy all the fun. But if not, we're available. So is Darrell Hamilton, Nefi Perez, and then the pitcher Roberto Ramirez, who'll probably go out for a hitter. 5-3 Dodgers in the 7th. Hamilton has walked twice and scored twice. Once on an error, once on a wild pitch. Another left-hander in the Rockies bullpen, Chuck McElroy. Strike. So Dave Malicki trying to keep it going. Good curveball. Wow. 0-2. Hamilton backs out. Said, Darryl hitting .250. And the fastball away. So a great curveball. Then the express. 1-2. So Hamilton still there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dodgers trying to get their record to 4-1. Rick Dempsey along with Rick Downs, who's the third base coach and the hitting instructor. Meanwhile at the plate, 2-2. Adrian Beltre trying to keep that hand warm. That's the secret. You have to throw that ball at all. Better with a warm hand. The full count to Hamilton, who has already walked twice. And strokes it to left. A diving try, but Brumfield can't come up with it, and that gives Hamilton the extra base. So Jacob trying to make the catch but couldn't do it. And so Darrell Hamilton with 2 walks and now a fly ball double, leading off the 7th inning.
Shortstop, number 5.
Here's the all-out effort by Brumfield, trying to make a sliding short hop, and all he could do is smother it a little bit. So Nepi Perez flied to right, single to right, and single to center. And a happy Hamilton talking to Jose Vizcaíno. Lenny Harris comes out on deck to bat for Roberto Ramirez. Ball 1. Dodgers 5, Rockies 3. Dodgers led 1-0. Then it was tied 1-1. Dodgers led 4-1, 5-1. Now 5-3. One and 0. Fastball hit in the air, but White has this on his radar screen, but Hamilton tags. Darrell on his way, and he will make it. So a fly ball to center, but deep enough to advance Hamilton. And with 1 out, Lenny Harris, the stunt man, as he calls himself, coming up. Lenny at one time played for the Dodgers. You get the feeling sometime that Lenny has played for everybody, but not quite.
Your attention, please.
But wherever he goes, you're guaranteed of a great
Rockies,
smile, a good nature, and a good
now
player.
batting for Ramirez, number 28, Lenny Harris.
Down in the Dodger bullpen, Pedro Bourbon, and in the dugout, Dave Hansen. So here is Lenny. Ball 1. Lenny Harris is 34. He'll be 35 in October. Trying to pick up Hamilton from third. And he does with a drive to right for a base hit. And now suddenly what was a pretty comfortable 5-1 lead is now 5-4. So Lenny Harris off the bench doing what he usually does. A great job. When you talk about the prototype utility player,
number 10,
you used to think about Jose Oquendo because he played 9 different positions. Then Tony Phillips broke in with the Oakland A's, and he had around 450 to 600 at bats a year. And as Harris says with that big grin, he says Tony Phillips is the ultimate stunt man. He's the one that really got it going. And if you want to talk about utility, not meaning so much that you don't start, but you play a lot of positions, maybe the greatest utility player to ever play the game would be Pete Rose. Broke in as a second baseman, played right field, played left field, played third base, finished his career as a first baseman. But of course, he primarily a starter. But anyway, Lenny always will make the contributions. Remember Mike Sharpison, the late Mike Sharpison? He and Lenny were with the Dodgers. He had the ultimate stuntman. One a left-hand batter, the other right. Either man could play a lot of places. So we have a tough ball game. 5 runs, 13 hits for the Dodgers, but the Rockies now 4 runs, 5 hits. And Bichette has walked, struck out, and singled to drive in a run. 1-1. 2 strikes on Bichette doesn't mean anything, and everybody knows that. Well, they're not going to get carried away over that. He had 2 strikes on him in the 5th inning and still got a base hit against Dreyfus. Nice save by Hundley, but down to second base anyway will go Lenny Harris. So Hundley sliding to his right like a goalie block the shot. It'll be a wild pitch. So Driver had a couple of wild pitches, and now Malicki checks in with one. And the tying run is at second base with one out in the 7th inning. Fastball hit to third. Beltre's got Harris coming at him. I don't know where Lenny thought he was going. The out is made. So Lenny Harris, and that's what happens when you don't play a lot. He makes a base running mistake. Maybe he thought there were 2 outs. That's what I think. No reason with the ball hit ahead of him that he would go to third. And so Beltre says thank you very much. So Lenny, representing the tying run, runs into what could be a very important out. And the way he was running as soon as the ball was hit, you have to believe he thought there were 2. Now he pays the price. Beltre fakes, tags him, and then wants to see if he's got another play. So Lenny knocked in a run, but now might have run out of one, and a heads-up play for Beltre. Vinny Castilla hitting .471. Walked and struck out twice. Five runs, 13 hits for the Dodgers, 4 runs, 5 hits for the Rockies. 1-1. When the Dodgers come up in the bottom of the 7th, they'll have Raul Mondesi, Todd Hundley, and Eric Karras. And Dave Hansen getting a little restless. Hit a home run as a pinch hitter last night. 2-1. Down in the bullpen, the left-hander Pedro Bourbon. Alan Mills just watching. Chopper wide of third. Tricky hop. Beltre stayed with it. Boy, that was a tough play. The bottom dropped out of that hopper, and Adrian stayed with it. So as we head to the bottom of the 7th, the score 5-4 Dodgers. We head to the Fox Network Center for a look at what's on Fox Sports News tonight. For Dodgers, as we head to the bottom of the 7th inning, Chuck McElroy, a 31-year-old left-hander, will pick up. So it's been Thompson, Leskanic, Ramirez, and now McElroy. Chuck was a major surprise for the Rockies last year. He was acquired in an expansion draft trade with Arizona. And even though he pitched a lot in Coors Field, he kept his ERA below 2 until he wearied. He made a career-high 78 appearances last year. His final 4 appearances, he was exhausted, and he gave up 7 earned runs and retired only 3 batters. One thing, he gave up only 3 home runs all year. Interestingly enough, all 3 home runs were hit by left-handed batters. Ball 1. Mondesi hit into a force play, single to left, and struck out. McElroy from Port Arthur, Texas. Boy, he is durable at 31. Prior to this year, he made 139 appearances in 2 years. This would be his 2nd this year. Strike. He never works more than 2 innings. That's his best fastball, and that's in the 80s. He's not overpowering. He has a great changeup and a lot of experience. 2-2. McElroy's been in the league over 8 years. He first came up 10 years ago with the Phillies, then the Cubs, then Cincinnati. Pitched briefly for the Angels, then the White Sox, and now Colorado. That's popped in the air, foul off first. It is slicing away, no play. Well back into the stands. So Raul Mondesi hitting .389, trying to get something started. The Dodgers scored 3 in the third, but really have been very, very quiet since they scored a run in the 4th inning. Mark Grassolonic not playing. Vizcaino in his spot is 2 for 3. Todd Hundley is on deck. He has 1 hit, and Eric Karros 3 for 3 after him. Foul back. Still 3-2. That's ball 4. So the Dodgers have been very generous. They've walked 7. A reminder, be sure to catch Kevin Brown's second start at tomorrow's 4:35 game in Chan Ho Park, Sunday at 1:05. All kids 14 and under receive a free collectible Home Run Heroes Bean Bear. For tickets, call 323-224-1-HIT or visit the Dodger website, www.dodgers.com. A well bundled up Kevin Brown watching every pitch. Ball 1 to Hundley. Hitting left-handed, he grounded out hard to second and singled sharply to right. Batting right-handed, he sent Donnie Bichette just about to the track in the 5th inning. Right. 1-1. Todd hitting .250. Mondesi at first. Helton, as you can see, not holding him on. Two and 1 the count to Todd. Thompson, Leskanic, Ramirez, McElroy, Dreifert, and Malicki. The pitchers of record are Thompson and Dreifert. Eric Karros trying to get loose. Ball 3. So McElroy struggling now a little bit. McElroy made all the stops as a kid in Port Arthur, Texas. You know, he started out playing Little League, then he moved up to Babe Ruth League, then to Legion Baseball in high school, then into the low minors, and he's had a fine career in the big leagues. 3-1. There goes Mondi on a strike, and a high throw is there to get him. So you wonder, I guess Todd Hundley was fooled by the pitch, because you would expect that to be a run and hit play. In other words, if it's ball 4, you don't have to swing at it. So Hundley apparently thought it was going to be ball 4, and instead Mondi is naked under the world out there and thrown out. So maybe a sign was missed, or maybe Todd just didn't like the pitch. But you don't expect to take in that spot. And we'll see just how important that is. There's ball 4, but it came too late. So an expensive out. And now here comes Eric Karros, who has had a package tonight. In the 2nd inning, Eric Karros came up with 1 out and whacked one in the gap in left center for a double. In the 3rd inning, he drilled one to left, and in the 5th inning, a solid single to left. Eric has come around to score once, and now here he is up there with Hundley at first. 1 out in the 7th. 5-4 Dodgers. Right. Of course, in a one-run game, if you miss a sign or whatever happened with Hundley and Mondesi, that becomes huge. 1-1. McElroy and Karras have certainly faced each other a lot. But then when you look it up, you find out, no, that's not true. And there's a high fly ball into deep left center field. It is off the base of the wall. Hundley is on his way to score. Nefi Perez's throw is not in time. Eric Karras, his third double and a single. And the Dodgers lead 6-4. When Eric hit it, I think he thought he hit it out. But on a cold night with that wind blowing from left to right, it didn't stand much of a chance at all. So McElroy is fortunate the Dodgers messed up on that 3-1 pitch to Todd Hundley. Otherwise, that would have been a 2-run double. So Eric bidding for a perfect night with 3 doubles. Nefi Perez making the throw, but offline and not in time. Foul back by Adrian Beltre. Karras having a big night, but you know, 30 years ago, Billy Williams tied a major league record for doubles in a game with 4 straight when the Cubs beat the Phillies. Well, Eric's had 2 doubles, then a single, then a double, and on a wild pitch, Karras, who was going, decides to stay at third. He was in motion, though they might give him a stolen base. We're waiting for the scorer's decision, and that's what it is. A stolen base for Eric Karras. He decided to take off, as he will do. And even though the wild pitch, he was starting to think about, do I? Maybe? No. No, I guess not. So now Jim Leyland coming out. A very shaky performance by Chuck McElroy. Mike DeJean, the right-hander, in the pen. Jim says, give me the ball, we'll try you another time. McElroy walked 2, gave up a double, gave up a run, and out he's going. We'll be back. Leading 6-4. Eric Karras has certainly played a major part in it. 4 for 4, 3 doubles and a single. And I think Eric decided that that double he just hit in the 7th inning could have been a home run, but the combination of the cold and the wind cut it down. Todd Hundley, who no doubt is still thinking about the 3-1 pitch he took with Mondesi going, but the extra run that comes over in the inning takes the weight off his shoulders. But something was wrong. But now Mike DeJean out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Big Mike, 6'2", about 215, and last year paid the price of anger. He was pitching super. In fact, as late as the end of July, Mike DeJean had an ERA of 1.8. Then he had a string of 3 straight bad performances and couldn't take it anymore. Walked into the dugout in Milwaukee September 1 and swung at the wall with his left hand. The wall won. DeJean broke his left hand, and that was the end of the year. In the dirt, nice block by Jeff Reed. That pitch that almost got away is actually the best pitch that Mike DeJean has. It is a vicious splitter that just dives into the dirt. He also throws a fastball, they tell me, that's been clocked at about 93. Boy, that fastball was 93. 2-2 the count. So here's a guy with a 93-mile-an-hour fastball, a hard slider that eats up left-handers, and then a great splitter. And Karras at third. Infield up. And there's ball 4. So the Dodgers have gotten 3 walks in the inning. after being very generous, giving up 7 walks to the Rockies.
Number 48.
And Jacob Brumfield coming up. Brumfield and then Dave Malicki, but Malicki doesn't figure to play anymore because Dave Hansen is on deck to bat for him. 6-4 Dodgers, 1 out. So Malicki did a nice job, the last of the Dodgers to get into a game. Karras at third, Beltry at first, 1 away. Ball 1. As Brumfield waits at the plate, DeJean is a pretty good fielding pitcher. One reason, when he was in college, Mike was a shortstop. He attended Mississippi Delta College and Livingston University. DeJean, an outdoorsman, bare-armed in the cold, because in the off-season he has been an elk hunting guide in the mountains of Colorado. Little dribbler, tough play. Castilla picks it up, throws late. The run is in. The Dodgers lead 7-4 on a squib single by Jacob Brumfield. He's a little embarrassed, but he will gladly take it. Just one of those things Vinny no way could make the play. And Beltry at second. So what a night for Eric Karras. Scored twice, 4 for 4. Big swing and a little dribbler. Karras isn't going to take any chances. He's coming into the plate.
Number 25, Dave Hansen.
Just in case there was going to be a throw, but there was no chance. So now Hansen, who came off the bench last night to hit a pinch hit home run into the seats in right. Dave comes up to hit for Malicki. 2 on, 1 out. Down in the pen, Alan Mills begins to loosen up. Two 2-0 the count. Left-handers hit .286 against DeJean last year. He gave up only 1 home run to lefties. 2-0. Well, now he's 1 pitch away from loading him up. Seven runs, 15 hits for the Dodgers. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Rockies. Strike, 3-1. So DeJean on the edge of giving up another walk in the inning as Carlos Perez talks to Raul Mondesi. And the breeze has picked up again to right field. Pop the other way off third and will go out of play. The winner. And had the sense to bring a glove and got a play. Kind of shy. That's great. 3-2 to Hansen. 2 on, 1 out. Beltry at second, Brumfield at first. Runners go. Fouled away. So Brumfield back to first, Beltry to second. The only out when Mondesi, on what appeared to be a busted run and hit play, was thrown out. Well, the runners figure to be going again. And they don't go. And there's a line drive base hit. Here comes Beltry around third. Watkins throw cut off by Heldon, but he has to take a bite out of it. The run is in, and the Dodgers lead 7-4. So Hansen off the bench 2 nights in a row to deliver a home run last night and a single RBI tonight. So that brings Beltre home. It sends Brumfield to third, and it lightens the load in the Dodger dugout, particularly the load that might have been on the shoulders of Todd Hundley and Raul Mondesi. And there they are, still talking, I'm sure, about that 3-1 pitch, I think. The only reason I can think of why they're still huddling. So it is 8-4 Dodgers. And here's EY. First and third, 1 out. Young 1 for 4 base hits. Ball 1. The old story. Pitching, pitching, pitching. Fly ball to shallow right. Let's see. Coming down the line is Brumfield. He didn't even fake a tag, so the run is hold. And Jose Vizcaíno coming up.
Shortstop, number 5, Jose Vizcaíno.
So Mike DeJean in relief has given up a walk and 2 singles. 2 runs charged to McElroy, and 1 so far charged to DeJean. Foul ball off third. Vinny will not get under that one. It hits the roof. 0-1. Two down, 3 runs in. The second 3-run inning for the Dodgers. They lead 8-4. 1-1. So Brumfield at third and Hansen at first with 2 out. A look at third and a fake. You know who'll have to be very cold right now? The umpire. I mean, they just stand there. Oh, the plate umpire's kind of busy. He's got a chest protector and he's moving his arm. But if you're out there, you're cold. High fly ball to center. Going back is Hamilton, a fine outfielder, and that's that. The Dodgers settle for 3. And at the end of 7 on a big night for Eric Karros, 8-4 Dodgers. He's leading Colorado 8-4 as we go to the 8th inning. And a reminder, tonight after the game on Fox Sports News Primetime, we'll find out what's happening in Augusta, the second round of the Masters. We'll also have scores and highlights of Major League Baseball and the same scores and highlights of the NBA. So stay right with us. Meanwhile, Pedro Borbon coming in to be the 3rd Dodger pitcher. It is Dreipert's game to win. Dreipert really labored for 5 innings. He walked 6, struck out 7, and barely got out of the 5th inning to make him eligible for the win. And the Dodgers trying to get it for him now. Malicki and now Borbon. Big breaking ball to Todd Helton, ball 1. Paid attendance tonight, 39,997. 39,997. Why don't you drop by tomorrow? 4:35 game. Kevin Brown and Darryl Kyle. Sunday, the last game of this homestand, Chan Ho Park and Pedro Estacio. And if you can't make it, well, pull up a chair. We'll be right here. Chan Ho bundled up, waiting for Sunday. I'm so glad he is pitching against Colorado, which means he will not pitch against Arizona. You could use a little time between his last start and Matt Williams before they meet again. Hard ground ball picked nicely by Vizcaíno. 1 away. So they keep Helton quiet. He goes 0 for 4.
Second baseman.
And here comes Mike Lansing.
Number 3.
The walk, struck
Mike
out, grounded to short.
Lansing.
The Laser is the kind of a player you like to watch every day. He is such a battler. Hitting .294. You first caught that feeling about him when he was in Montreal. This ball 1. I think last year he put a lot of pressure on himself going to Colorado after having signed a big contract. He signed a 4-year deal for $23 million and $23.25 million. Three and 0 the count. And he walked. So the Dodgers very generous. That's 8 walks given up to the Colorado hitters.
Catcher, number 15,
Jeff Reed coming up, lined into a double play, lined out to third, and walked. Hit the ball hard, doesn't have anything to show for it. Remember, outfielder Pat Watkins is on deck. Strike. 0-1. Backing up Barbone, there's Alan Mills. One out, 8th inning, 8-4 Dodgers. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think it's a combination of a lot of things to see so many walks early in the year and the cold weather. Ball 2. Pedro appears healthy. That's really good news. Coming off serious arm surgery. Atlanta figured he wouldn't come back. High fly ball into left center and very deep. Hamilton on the track and can't get it. It's off the wall. Backed up by Brumfield. Here comes Lansing on the relay to score on a long double to left. You know what's amazing me? What is I'm really surprised. It's cold, as you know. We're playing a lot of night games. I don't think I've ever seen the ball carry as well as it does at night in the cold. I mean, that looked like a fly ball. And it's against the wall. And there's no wind. I mean, the only reason Kara's ball didn't go out was the fact the wind was blowing. Well, they're going to go to Alan Mills. But usually, last night, I was flabbergasted when Helton hit the home run. I mean, it was freezing. He hit a slider away. It looked like he swung one-handed and hit it in the bleachers in right center. So this game is still very much alive. As Mills comes in, we will pause for this. In favor of the Dodgers here in the 8th inning with 1 out and with Jeff Reed at second base. A quick summary. Big night for Karros. 3 doubles and a single, going 4 for 4. The 3 doubles tying a Dodger record. Devon White, welcome to the club. His first 3-hit game. What a struggle for Darren Driver. 6 walks, 7 strikeouts, 3 wild pitches, but he could win. And the Dodgers posting a high so far of 16 hits. But a long way from being over. Karros stretching to stay loose. Reed at second and Alan Mills facing Pat Watkins with Darrell Hamilton on deck. Ball 1. Davy Johnson with Charlie Huff on the phone, and now Rick Dempsey over, and in the pen Jeff Shaw beginning to loosen up. Two balls and no strikes. So the Dodger pitchers have allowed 8 walks. Mills has done well in 2 games. Dodgers had a comfortable 5-1 lead, then 5-3, 5-4, 8-4, and now 8-5. And at second base, Jeff Reed. In there. Another strike. 2-2. Alan Mills billed to be a setup man along with Antonio Osuna for Jeff Shaw. But with Osuna out for a while, it's up to Allen. Now back. Osuna threw in a simulated game yesterday, and if he didn't have any soreness, he was going to throw in San Bernardino tomorrow, maybe spend anywhere from 7 to 10 days with San Bernardino, and then come back to the Dodgers. That would get him here just about the same time that Todd Hollandsworth is ready to come off on the 18th. 2-2. Half swing. Did he? Yes, he did. So Watkins strikes out, going after a bad ball.
Center fielder.
And the batter now is Darrell Hamilton.
Darrell Hamilton.
Hamilton has walked twice and doubled, and he has scored 3 times. So he's really done a job in the leadoff role. Ball 1. Mills last year was really a workhorse with Baltimore. 72 games. He was both a middleman and a setup man and performed well in both roles. He's been clocked at 95 with a fastball. The difference in him this year, when he throws that 4-seam fastball along with a hard slider, that fastball is up. But then he's come up with a 2-seamer that sinks and gets a lot of more ground balls. So he had his lowest ERA in the last 5 years. Two and 0 the count. In there. The Dodgers outbid Baltimore for him. 3 years for not quite $6 million. So Baltimore signed Xavier Hernandez for 2 years. 2-1 pitch. On the hands, little ground ball to Young. That's the inning. So the Rockies get 1, and at the end of 7.5. Dodgers 8, Rockies 5. The 8th inning here at Dodger Stadium. 8-5 Dodgers. 8 runs, 16 hits, and the Rockies 5 runs, 6 hits. How about that? Valdez, Perez, and that other Latin, Jano Park. That's great. The 3 Caballeros. Well, as Roy Campanella once said, you gotta have a lot of little boy in you to play this game. Strike. Devon White, 3 singles, fly to center, hitting .474. Of course, the numbers are all out of sight this early in the year. Change, good one. 0-2. Ball 1. When the Rockies come up in the 9th inning, they are due to send up Nefi Perez. That's a cinch. Then they'll have a hitter for DeJean and Donnie Bichette. Check swing fly ball back a third down the line, and it's going to drop just fair. And Devo into second base with a gift double and a 4-hit game. 3 singles and a pop fly double. The old story, once in a while they drop in. A lot of times you hit line drives at people. So you just take them. And it's going to land right on the chalk. I think Devo was annoyed at himself for taking that long before he left the plate. And Neppy Perez picked it up, but he's in there. So Devon White, 3 singles and a double. So he and Karros now each with 4 hits. Devon White has had 4 hits in a game a bunch of times, 18 times in the past. The last time last year at Oakland. 0-1. Mondesi hit into a forced play, single to left, struck out and walked, so he's 1 for 3. So the Dodgers now 17 base hits tonight. In the dirt, that gets away. A splitter goes all the way to the backstop, and look out, White goes halfway to the plate and then decides to go back. Mike DeJean, remember, is a good fielder, a former college shortstop, and he could handle the throw. He would know how to make a tag. A lot of time pitchers cover the plate, but they have no idea what to do on a throw. And Devo was thinking about it and then said, nope, nobody out, so it would be a useless risk. So the wild pitch sends White to third. So all the pitchers tonight and a couple of the infielders have had trouble throwing the ball, and it's understandable. 2-1 to count. As you can see, Neppy Perez, it's so desperate to try and keep your hand warm, but as soon as he takes it out of his shirt, it'll be cold again. Ball 3. Eric Karros has a shot if they have a reasonable inning. A shot at going 5 for 5. Fooled on that. 3-2. Driven to left. Right there is Bichette, tagging up as Devo, and he will score to make it 9-5 as Mondesi picks up the RBI, thanks to the wild pitch that set it up and the pop fly that went for the double. Be sure to tune in after the game. Don't forget, you'll get all the scores and highlights from all of today's other baseball action on Fox Sports News Prime Time tonight, right after the ball game. So DeJean now has allowed 2 runs. Vizcaino talking to Mondesi, and the batter is Hundley. Now 1 out, base is empty, which means Eric Karros will have a shot. You know, the most hits the Dodgers had in a game last year, 19, end of April at Pittsburgh. Well, they have 17 hits tonight. The most hits by any one player in a game last year, Raul Mondesi. He had a 5-hit game against Milwaukee. So Eric Karros trying for a 5-hit game as Mondi get 5. Eric Karros has had 4-hit games 9 times. Ground ball to Lansing. That's the 2nd out, so here comes Eric. Well, Devon White has had a 4-hit game. Karros a 4-hit game. The only difference, Eric Karros 3 doubles, a single, and a stolen base. He has scored twice. The last time that Karros had a 4-hit game was in June last year. He had a 4-hit game against the Cardinals. Ball 1. 9-5 Dodgers. Ball 2. We're in the 8th inning. 2 out. To repeat, Nefi Perez, a hitter for Dijon, Bichette, and maybe Castilla. Eric 4 for 4 is hitting .444. Two and 1. Line foul. Boy, he drilled that thing. 2 and 2. Nine runs, 17 hits for the Dodgers. 5 runs, 6 hits for the Rockies. Half swing foul. That might have been ball 3. Borderline pitch. Wouldn't bite. High slider. 3 and 2. Eric Young, Raul Mondesi in the thick of things all night. High fly ball, but it's playable, and Darrell Hamilton will put that in the ball bag. So Eric settles going 4 for 5, and at the end of 8, Dodgers 9, Rockies 5. Nine 5 Dodgers, and Nefi Perez. Ball 1. So we saw Jeff Shaw, remember, warming up in the bullpen, and you would think, well, Jeff's going to close it up. But now that they have a 4-run lead, they'll ask Alan Mills to do it. Mills came in to strike out Watkins and get Hamilton in the 8th inning. So he would work an inning and 2/3 if he can do it. Mike Kelly, outfielder, on deck. Pop foul and out of play. Another foul ball, and this should be out of play, and is. Nefi Perez, 2 singles to right and to center. And Nefi Perez continues to hack away and comes up with his 3rd hit. Single to left. That'll bring up Mike Kelly. Right now, time for the player of the game, and it certainly would be Eric Karros. 3 long doubles and a single. Scored twice, knocked in a run, and for good measure, stole a base. He's asking the bench, do you want me to think about a bunt? And they tell him, no, don't worry about it. Hold the runner. So here is Mike Kelly. Devon White, of course, could very well have been a player of the game with 4 hits, but he wasn't quite as involved with the extra base hits as Eric Karros. 0-1 to Mike. Young man from Los Angeles. He opened the season 4 years ago on Atlanta's big league roster and never quite cut it. Nobody out. 9-6 Dodgers. Mike Kelly has just doubled to chase Alan Mills, and Jeff Shaw is now asked to get the last 3 outs. This will be Jeff's 3rd game. 1 save. Donnie Bichette walked and struck out, singled, and reached on a fielder's choice. Mike Kelly at second base. Oh, Donnie Bichette trying to bunt. Why not? If he gets aboard, you have a home run hitter on deck who could tie up the game. So a good try by Bichette. Now, over the few years they faced each other, Bichette is hitting .333 against Shaw with a double and a home run. 5 for 15. Slider hit up the middle. Tough play for EY. No play for EY. So that'll be a single for Donnie Bichette. That sends Kelly to third. And now Vinny Castilla coming up.
Number 9.
And of course he's the type of player who can certainly tie it up with one swing. Vinny Castilla against Shaw is hitting .429. That means 3 for 7 with a home run. Castilla 0 for 3. He has walked, struck out twice, hit into a force play. On 1. Tough night for everybody, including the managers. We've had 6 wild pitches in the game. We've had a couple of throwing errors and a total of 15 runs scored. 1-1. The starters are still the pitchers of record, Dryford and Thompson, and you can see as the players were used, erased out of the possibilities of seeing them again. 1-1. Ball 2. So Mike Kelly at third. Standing at first, Donnie Bichette. Castilla will be followed by the left-hand hitter Todd Helton. Each of the 3 hitters that Shaw has faced have hit him for a home run in the past. Bichette, Castilla, and Todd Helton on deck hit a home run against Jeff. So he's got a tough assignment. Nine runs, 17 hits for the Dodgers, 6 runs, 9 hits for the Rockies. 2-2. Foul back. Since he has not seen that much, we should look at the Heroes patch on the left sleeve of Jeff Shaw's uniform. 53, and that can only be Don Drysdale. Good. Two and 2. So cutters away, fastball inside, and he's gone all the way. Nobody out. Bichette at first. Jeff, like everybody else, having trouble making that ball do what he wants. Line drive, speared by Shaw, over to Karras for a double play. How do you like that? That looked like a sure base hit, and Shaw spears it and turns into a double play. That's a 1-3 DP that erases Bichette. Look at this, BB, and he speared it. What great reflexes. All the while, Mike Kelly had nowhere to go but stand at third. So that does it for Bichette. Now, here is Todd Helton, last night's hero for the Rockies. 0 for 4 tonight. Todd flied to center and struck out, and 2 ground balls. Right. 1-1. 9-6 Dodgers, 2 out, 9th inning. Remember, tomorrow 4:35, Kevin Brown, Darryl Kyle. If he can't be here, it'll be right here on Fox Sports Net West 2. And the same story one Sunday, 1:05, Chan Ho Park, Pedro Estacio, strike 2. 1-2 to Heldon. Big night for Eric Karros. Big night for Devon White. And now Jeff Shaw is trying to make it a big night for the Dodgers. Crowd up and at him. 1-2. Got him. So Shaw does the job thanks to his glove, spearing that line drive. And the Rockies wind up with 1 run, 3 hits, and they leave 1. And the Dodgers hang on to win it 9-6. It was certainly not an artistic triumph, not with a half a dozen wild pitches, but it will do. For Ross Porter, this has been Scully saying so long from Dodger Stadium. Final score, Dodgers 9, Rockies 6. And friends, we remind you to tune in tomorrow. Kevin Brown takes the mound against Darryl Kyle and the Rockies. Game time, 4:30. You've been watching Dodger baseball on Fox Sports Net West 2. Right now, stay tuned for Fox Sports News coming up next.